Peace, family. Today, let's talk about martial law. You know, martial law, firearm, and rifle safety. You always got to remember that we have the right to bear arms. So, you always want to push and support the Second and Fourth Amendments, because the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, and the Fourth Amendment is the right against illegal invasions and inappropriate abuse, of your home privacy and whatnot. So, your right to store your arms, your firearms, your rifles, pistols, things of that nature. And being a martial law, they can override any of those laws, because when it's martial law, it damn near trumps any type of law. So whether it's Roman law, Maritime law, Admiralty law, if in a martial law, that's when they have us in checkmate. So, I gave you the spiritual aspect. Now let's talk about the mundane, or the real world, what's in the physical. Not everybody practices witchcraft or some type of magic. So, it's a lot of people that have spirit guides, and spirit guides are with them, and have certain powers within them, but they don't know how to activate them. So, my suggestions, for firearms, Glock is pretty high standard, FN is pretty decent. Sometimes they have a lot of kickback, a lot of recoil. The lowest I would go is a Taurus. So if you're trying to get like a Jimenez or a High Point, you might as well have a knife. Between the Glocks, I prefer the 9mm over the Glock 40. Yeah, over the Glock 40. So I like the Glock 17, the Glock 19, the Glock 26, and the Glock 43. The higher the caliber, the smaller the weapon. And the reason why is that a 9mm will do the same thing that the 40 caliber will. It's more accurate. 40 caliber is just for more impact. If you buy a higher grade 9mm round, you got the same equation. A lot of people get these 40s and got to get Scottie Pippins or Steph Curry, shooting 33 rounders because they have no aim, don't know how to shoot. They don't know what zeroing is. They don't know what grouping is. And another secret is, when you have your magazines or your clips, you never want to fully fill up your clip. So if you have a 30 rounder, you want to put 25 to 27 rounds. If you have a 33 rounder, you want to put about 27 to 30 rounds. Why? Because you have to leave play for the spring to be able to function properly, because over time it wears the spring out and it causes one to have jams. See what I'm saying? You also want to clean your weapons. So it's always good to have a cleaning kit. This is a basic cleaning kit for a typical rifle. Always good to have that cleaning kit. So, my suggestions, for rifles. People like the Mac 90, people like the AK, the SK, but let me tell you something. It's not so much overkill, but if you're not properly trained with the rifle and not a rifle expert, AK is not for accuracy. It's more for suppressive fire. It's more for tearing down the block. If you want something that's more inconspicuous or more accurate, or that can do multiple things, you should look for an AR-15, a RM-15, an AR-15, or an AR pistol, which is more of a mini version, or a shorter version of a AR-15 with a retractable buttstock, which I will show you in 1 second. So because with an AR-15 you can use it for suppressive fire, to tear down the block, because you can get it fully automatic as well. But to have one fully automatic, you would need a tax credit and a federal gun license. Without that, if you have one and you ain't got those two things, yeah, you're very illegal. An AR-15 can also be used as a tactical weapon and as a sniper weapon, because, being that it's shorter and lighter, it's easier to maneuver. As far as German engineering and the 22 caliber, I would say Heckler and Koch, or Koch. Kel-Tec's pretty decent, but I really like Hickory and Coach. Now, 22 is more for tactical rimfire. But people laugh at 22s, but they're very dangerous because, man, once that bullet enters in, it doesn't leave. It stays lodged. If it hits that main artery, oh, you're gone. I'd rather have, a bullet that's going to go straight through. So let's show the AR-15. This is a basic, AR-15, when and when not. As you see, I'm ex-military. Anybody ex-military trained like this, we know that this is the #1 safety. You never put that finger in that trigger well, unless you're ready to fire. So, here's the barrel. Here's the front sight. Usually, they would put like a rear sight if you were to, you can modify it and put a rear sight on it. You can put a scope on it, whether or not. If you're ex-military, you would probably put an ACOG and a PAC-4 on the side. You also have your upper and lower receiver. You have for the magazine well. You have your dust cover. You have your hand guards. You have your pistol grip, and you have your retractable butt stock. A collapsible butt stock folds in and out. That's more like German engineering, But AR-15 is pretty decent. You always want to keep, ammunition. So I'll go with a regular 30 rounders. This right here is 223. These right here are military grade. Well, I don't have them on me, but they're in the other room. But I have military grade 5.56 as well. So this is 223 5.56 compatible. And with an AR-15, you can also put in a 22 converter kit that can make into a 22 long rifle for tactical rimfire. So you always want to make sure that you're cleaning your weapon, doing your function checks. The reason why all firearms come with a standard 30 round to a 15 round to even a 10 round. Like the 10 and 15 rounds are more for like zeroing and grouping and for practice at the range. But they come standard with a 30 round because this gives you the proper intervals when shooting, so that way you guarantee not to melt the barrel. So you can get the Mickey Mouse drum, with the 100 rounds, but if it's not a high grade Bushmaster Colt type rifle, the lowest I would go is Anderson rifles, because like that's another manufacturer through Colt, if I'm not mistaken. You didn't put the 60 round because if you know how to count your rounds, you can shoot your first 30 on your first intervals and then shoot your next 30. But 100 rounds is like, if you have a cheap rifle, you're going to melt that barrel. You are going to cook that barrel, so it will look something like this. It is kind of beautiful, isn't it? The nice little B60 rounds. Yeah. So these are things that you want to hold on to, because these are gifts of gold when and whatnot. Always have ammunition. Ammunition is a must. You gotta have ammunition. Because these are just the basics. You always want to have the ammunition when and whatnot. You always want to keep some rounds stored away and make sure that they're good rounds when and whatnot, not the cheap rounds. Have some 22 long rifle rounds as well. I have to keep this for what we would call in the hood the Easy E. Why the Easy E? Because what I'm finna show you next is the same rifle that we saw on Straight Outta Compton. Only difference is this is the 22 long rifle version, which is about maybe a good $1,500 to $2,000 difference between the 9mm version, because the spring in the middle right here takes a special type of vise or press, to compress, the spring wood and whatnot. But I like this. This has like a little bit of pressure on here. The hand guard. Magazine goes right here. You have your upper and lower receiver. Have your trigger well. Have your pistol grip. Have a little bitty scope on the top. Be a little bit fancy. Got my rear sight, which is adjustable. Have my front sights. And same thing. Retractable butt stock. So I'm just trying to show you my little bitty toys that I have, because I practice what I preach, and I'm very knowledgeable. So I'm not one of them dudes that will give you a ritual or I wouldn't give a ritual that I haven't already practiced. Magic is a form of science. That's why we have a book of shadows. So that way you can test, your spell or your science by checking over the spell or the ritual that you did via correspondences, and then you make your minor corrections, to the errors that you did to kind of fix that spell with and whatnot. So like it's basically your observations in your grimoires or in your notes or in your journaling, you know what I mean? So, if I give you a spell or rituals because I've already done the science and I can give you my experiences on it. If I've never done the ritual, then I would refer you to a person, that has done the ritual or that has the knowledge in that area. But, trying to give out a ritual or do a spell that you haven't done can backfire in your face. So, always practice, the magic that you put out. Same thing with gun safety. I'm not going to give you gun safety if I don't know anything about rifles and if I'm not knowledgeable. So, got the HK MP5 is what this is called. And, of course, keep a little bit 1 point sling, but I like the 3-point sling the best because tactical sling hits every area, to where it just basically hangs by itself, free for all, you know what I mean? So, 3-point sling is damn near the best, Also, a lot of people don't know because they don't pay close attention. They're not just going to plain out telling you, but you can go to the gun store and get bombs. You think I'm lying? What does this say? Shockwave exploding rifle targets. Shockwave exploding rifle targets. These are bombs. King Norman keeps a little bit of everything. So, it's one of them things that later on, once I get my cameraman out here, one of my, conscious brothers went out, or even one of my conscious sisters, I'll even pay him for the time, that I'm going to give you basically a class on how to break down the AR-15, put it back together, identify with the different parts, when and when not, how to clean them, how to put it back together, how to do a function check, things of those nature, or things of that nature. So, you always want to have, your bombs if you can't get a hold of grenades, which are kind of legal. They want to keep your magazines for your ammunition, when and when not. Just always have them stored up, Better be safe than sorry. You always want to have, and always have a weapons cleaning kit. Other than that, peace, family. Peace, peace, peace.